Good evening, and welcome to the League of Women Voters, Weld County, and Greeley Candidate Forum for School Board. I am Kathleen Milligan, and I will be your moderator. Other league members will be helping with timing and questions. The timers will be Shelley Edwards and Pat Weisberg. Question screeners are Barb Winery and Claudia Milstead. Greeters and question card collectors who are out and about our audience are Cindy Bullard and Sandy Magnuson. The League is a 105-year-old organization of men and women, but we are not all 105, just so you know. That encourages informed and active participation in our democracy. We are nonpartisan, working to increase understanding of major policy issues through education and advocacy. Although the League advocates for issues after extensive study, it never endorses or opposes candidates. The purpose of this forum tonight is to inform voters through respectful questions and listening. We hope that your time spent here will help you make informed decisions on Election Day, November 4th, 2025. All electronic devices except the devices candidates use for the forum must be turned off during the forum. Please mute your cell phones. I am going to read to you the forum rules, and I do this only, they're extensive, but I do this to make sure that everybody, particularly people in the audience, understand why we have set it up this way so that it can be as fair and as complete a forum for your information as possible. The forum is not a debate. There will be no rebuttals from candidates or comments from the audience. No applause or verbal outbursts will be allowed. No campaign banners, signs, literature handouts, t-shirts, or other campaign paraphernalia will be allowed in the meeting room. We have provided tables outside the room for campaign literature provided by the candidates. Candidates and supporters, please take your literature and other materials when you leave. The event sponsors cannot be responsible for those campaign materials. Candidates are not allowed to use any props like notes, charts, signs, or other such items, but they are allowed to speak from their notes. Each candidate will be provided a pen and pad of paper during the forum. Time limits on responses will be strictly observed. A timekeeper will hold cards visible to the speaker indicating when 30 seconds remains. When the stop card is shown, the speaker must end within 10 seconds or when the thought is completed. Rule number 5. The moderator who is chosen by the sponsoring organization will have the responsibility for enforcing time limits. The moderator also will have the responsibility to interrupt the proceedings to ensure the ground rules are followed. The moderator may interrupt the candidates if she believes the candidates are straying from the subject. The candidates may not interrupt each other. The League will prepare some questions ahead of time, and other written questions will be collected from the audience. And as a matter of fact, we've already gotten a question. Questions will pass through a screening committee for duplication and appropriateness before being asked by the moderator. And lastly, the candidates will have a set amount of time to respond to questions from the moderator and audience questions. All candidates may respond to any question that has been asked of another candidate specifically, if it hones in on a particular candidate. The candidates also may choose not to answer a question if they so choose. This forum is being live streamed on the League of Women Voters Greeley-Weld County YouTube channel. www.youtube.com/LWV Greeley-Weld County. And that probably explains why we have a fairly small audience, because people have gotten used to being able to watch the candidate forums that the league does later when they are able. So we are happy to have those of you who are present here tonight, but also those who will be watching this at another time. I will now introduce the candidates in attendance, and then we will begin with opening statements. We have Kyle Bentley, Weston Edmonds, Dina Lemos Garcia, and Robin Rogie. Not in attendance is Jeremy Waters, who is also running. He was not able to be here tonight. So now we will begin, and we will go in alphabetical order, and then I will move down the line, and I will let you know when it's your turn to answer a particular question. So we will start with the opening statements. Kyle Bentley.
Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you guys for hosting us. I'm Kyle Bentley. I'm currently Vice President of the Board, was elected in 2021. Father of students in the district and a small business owner here in town. So I'm running to just continue the good work we've been doing. Dr. Deirdre Piltz has been the superintendent for just over a decade now. Recently elected to or voted superintendent of the year, and I just want to continue to support her. We have a couple big issues coming up, a possible bond issue down the road, and we have a lot of infrastructure that needs put in, talking about the downtown development and a lot of exciting things that are happening, and I just want to continue to be a stable, firm voice and help the district continue the path they're on. So thank you guys for having us.
Thank you. Weston Edmonds.
Echo the appreciation for hosting this forum tonight. My name is Weston Edmonds. I am a Greeley native. I'm a product of District 6. I'm also a father of 3 children who are in the district. And I love my community. So that's one of the main reasons why I chose to run for school board, is because I've been seeing the great work that our district has already been accomplishing through their 14 different career-driven academies, their different trades and college and career readiness that they offer for our students, was just something that I want to be a part of, because as a employee of Weld Food Bank for the last 11 years, I've seen a lot of the struggles of our community. We have a lot of families in this community who rely on free and reduced school meals, which means their families don't make more than 185% of the federal poverty level, which means those students are struggling with other needs, and the district is one of the great resources for those students to be able to have the tools for them to be successful in life, but not only for themselves, but for the community. And so I want to be a part of a district that has made great strides under the leadership of Dr. Pilch and the direction of the school board. And my hope and my desire is to continue the great work forward to make sure that when my kids are graduated from the school district, that we still have a great place for students to learn and thrive and succeed. Thank you.
Thank you. Dina Lemos Garcia.
Hello, and thank you for having me here today. So I'm Dina Lemos Garcia. I've dedicated my life to service, whether it's volunteering, mentoring, or supporting local initiatives. My why is simple. I believe that every child deserves a high-quality, equitable education in a supportive environment where they can reach their full potential. As both a parent and a community leader, I'm passionate about the future of our schools and the well-being of every student. I was born and raised in northern Colorado. I currently live in Greeley, and I've been here for about 20 years. I have children who attended District 6 schools. I was a District 6 substitute teacher at one point. I also sat on the PTO. I currently sit on the Greeley Dream Team Board of Directors, the High Plains Library Board of Trustees, and the Workforce Development Board. I'm also a UNC graduate. With my master's degree in higher education, student affairs leadership. So for me, it's important that we dedicate and ensure our students are prepared for college and career ready. I also want to make sure that we continue to foster a safe and supported learning spaces for our students and addressing the evolving needs of our district with strong emphasis in financial responsibility. I am also a huge proponent of our current superintendent in addition to the 2030 initiative. Thank you for having me here today.
Thank you. Robin Rogie.
Well, good evening. My name is Robin Rogie, and I'm running for School Board District 6. And it's just, again, I would also like to say it's just a real honor to be here, and thank you for having me this evening. My background is that I grew up in the Denver area. I graduated from UNC, and then I came up to go to college. No, I'm sorry, I graduated from Englewood High School, and then I came to UNC to go to college and met my husband, Mark. And that is my main connection to District 6, is that my husband has been a teacher and coach in the district for 30 years, and he's retired now as a teacher, but he continues to work with athletes in our community. Our sons, Tyler and Connor, both attended District 6 schools, K through 12. And so I've been pretty involved at that level in the district for many years. Of course, this is a very different platform than what my background is.
Thank you. All right, now we will begin with the questions. The first question, and I'm going to ask Weston Edmonds first. What is the here's the question, Weston. What is the greatest issue facing the school district? How will you address it? And think particularly in terms of the next 5 years.
Yes, so what do I see as the greatest issue the school district is facing, especially in the next 5 years? And the biggest thing is funding. The reality is that we have $500 million worth of work that still need to be done in our schools, which includes removing portable classrooms. It includes providing more safe learning environments, but also ensuring that we can have entire buildings that are up to par with the rest of our district. And so to address that, I know we're going to need to look at another bond issue. We're going to need to look at renewing the mill levy override, because those type of funds don't come out of thin air. And we want to make sure that if we have a healthy, thriving community, that we have healthy, thriving schools. And as a district, again, that is so, has so many struggles, especially when it comes to risk of poverty, the district is the way that we can serve these families. And so that is what I see as the biggest issue that this district is facing, is not only funding for our schools, but funding for our teachers to make sure our educators are well paid. Thank you.
Thank you. Dina Lemos Garcia.
I also agree with Weston. I feel that the most pressing issue today is our funding. So the funding that we utilize for not only our school district as a whole, but also being able to pay our educators. And so in order for us to attract the best educators, we have to pay them well. And currently we're about 51% with our salary ranges for our educators. And 80% of our salary, of our funding currently is for our come out of salary. So I also want to consider discussing the mill levy and the bond as it comes up in a few years.
Okay, thank you. Robin Rogie.
I would agree that one of the biggest issues facing our district is financing, and I would think about it particularly as it relates to retaining and attracting great teachers to our district. We do have wonderful teachers and people that do missional work with our kids, but I do think that in order to retain great educators, we are going to have to be able to compete financially.
Okay, thank you. And Kyle Bentley.
To not jump on the same train, but to jump on the same train, I don't think there's one glaring issue. There's a whole bunch of exciting opportunities. One of them being to continue the great work of trying to increase consistently and effectively the comprehension and the test scores and our graduation rate, which is directly reflected in the financials. The student per teacher quota and the ratio is directly affected with the budget. So if we can get more teachers on the payroll, we can get the class sizes down, and that's been proven to show that it improves the learning abilities and results that the kids show. So.
Okay, thank you. All right, the next question, some of you have hinted at it, and it's related, but I'm going to ask it so that you hone in a little bit more directly on what are your priorities when dealing with tight budgets. And we will start with Dina Lemos Garcia.
So dealing with a tight budget requires certainly some discipline and creativity and perseverance. So I'm committed to collaborating with the superintendent and fellow school board members to assess our priorities and certainly guarantee the financial transparency throughout our district.
Okay. Robin.
In terms of dealing with the tight budget, I would say also that we need to prioritize. And when I think about prioritizing, I always think about the people that are teaching, the people that are leading our schools. And so that's where I would want to definitely prioritize as we look at dealing with tight budgets.
Thank you. Weston Edmonds. I'm sorry, I'm going back to Kyle. Kyle.
I think it's important to lean into and listen to the experts in the room. Dealing with the GEA through negotiations over the last 4 years has been very insightful into what matters and what doesn't. Also, just being creative, thinking outside the box, and just working with the people that know the ins and outs, and just keeping an open mind. There's a lot of opportunities, and so far we've managed those well, but there could be a time where we had to make some really hard decisions, and I'm confident in the systems that we have and the people that we have in place.
Okay. And Weston Edmonds.
I would, echo what Mr. Bentley said, in that I don't want to claim to be an expert on anything to do with budget, especially within a budget this size. So I would definitely lean on the experts in the room, while also keeping focus on District 6's 2030 initiative and the values and beliefs they have, which is that students come first and a commitment to hiring high-quality educators. I think those are two very important things to make sure that our district continues to move forward, is that we can keep those as the focus for the budget. And so as time comes, and I know difficult decisions have already had to be made last year, as they had $7 million that they needed to cut from the budget. That directly impacts the students regardless, even if they don't take it from the teachers. And so always just looking to how we can best protect our students, as well as our educators. But when the time comes, there will unfortunately always be difficult decisions to make, and I think making it as a board in a cohesive unit is going to be what's most important when we have these difficult decisions.
Okay, thank you. All right, our next question is a different topic. What support should District 6 offer to families in the district whose lives are disrupted by immigration issues? And we will start with Robin Rogie.
Well, that is a question that I have not even hardly thought about, so I'm not sure I can speak really intelligently about that, but I do know that it's a Colorado mandate that we educate every child that attends our schools. And so it is a challenge. We have kids from really difficult backgrounds, and I think we're asked to educate every child. So.
Okay, thank you. Kyle Bentley.
We actually had some classes on this with the change of administration. Agree or disagree with the federal politic level. It could interrupt children's lives. So we talked about how past ICE raids, kids have basically got home from school and their parents were gone, and just the way that other school districts in Nebraska dealt with it, from just, some teachers taking them in their house, which is not a long-term solution, but just being there and supporting and being available for the community. We're a giant entity with a lot of square footage that could easily move mountains to support if needed and when needed.
Okay, thank you. Weston Edmonds.
I believe in the strong value of being a neighbor. And what that being a neighbor means is having to make sacrifices. Maybe potentially might make us uncomfortable, but we could give the possibility for somebody that's in a situation that we don't understand to have a possibility in this term of having a good education. I was actually fortunate enough to go to the Success Foundation today, where I got a sticker that I got to put on my water bottle that says, "Better together, we are District 6." And so I know that those are difficult issues, as Mr. Bentley had mentioned, that you never know what is going to happen. But again, going back to the 2030 initiative values of our students matter and every student can achieve. And no matter what your background is, I believe that every student in our schools can achieve. And so as a district, we should do what we can to make sure that they have a safe learning environment, and one where the district will be an advocate and a friend and not an adversary.
Thank you. Dina Lemos Garcia.
For me, when I look about the support that we could offer as a district is leaning into our counselors, allowing them to be available for our students if needed, also our staff and our educators, keeping our school respectful and a safe place for our students, as it states in our policy, is ensuring that we follow through that, and training our educators and our staff for any potential need as we continue to experience the variety of differences or activities that might occur in our community, and then create an open communication, a space for open communication for our students to be able to share out any feelings or anything they'd like to with staff, educators, counselors, any person that they might feel safe.
Okay, thank you. All right, the next question is, how will you deal with issues raised by students, teachers, parents, and/or the community, both when you think it is warranted and when you might think it is not? In other words, we're asking how you communicate with all of those different groups. We will start with Kyle Bentley.
I feel like I have an unfair advantage because I've actually had experience in this, but we have a good administration. Every time that I've had an issue that I've passed on from a parent or a student or a concerned citizen, either to Deirdre or one of her staff members, is she all right? It's been handled expediently and very well, and then followed up through very closely and returned to the board and shown what was done and how it was handled. So I'll just continue, passing it on to the appropriate parties and supporting where I can.
Okay, thank you. Weston Edmonds.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things when somebody has a complaint is they want to feel heard. So giving them the opportunity to have those avenues to express their concerns, their frustrations, while also communicating the board's role as it comes to the whole entity of District 6. A lot of issues that get brought forward to even the administration of District 6 is something that's handled better by the principals. And so if somebody comes to me with a complaint, I definitely want them to feel heard, but I would direct them to the appropriate parties, those who are well-trained, those whose job it is to make sure that there's proper solutions, while also still just keeping a constant reminder of what the board's role is and when it's appropriate for the board to take action to see what possibilities could be, but to never make promises that I will fix every issue, because that's not possible.
Okay, thank you. Dina Lemos Garcia.
I would certainly listen with active listening. I would acknowledge their concern. And depending on the situation, I would then determine the most appropriate way to share and address the information.
Thank you. Robin Rogie.
I also think that listening is a huge skill that people need to have when dealing with the public. I do echo, though, that as a school board member, that my responsibility is to direct people to the appropriate sources for them to express their concerns. But I do think that people need to feel like they are heard and need to feel like someone is taking the time to understand what their issues are.
Okay, thank you. Our next question is a different topic. What are the 2 top safety issues that concern you the most? And what action will you take to decrease their negative impact? And we will start with Weston Edmonds.
Well, I've already touched on one of them, I believe, which is just general safety of our buildings. To have about 50 portable classrooms, those are very hard to secure. When you have school buildings where there's one way to get into the building, it's a much more secure building. But when you have individual units outside, that makes it much harder, and just a safety risk for our students. I think the other one would be, and this is an epidemic across the country, but it's actually mental health. I would say that there's a lot of our students that quietly deal with or silently and deal with mental illness and mental struggles, that we need to be able to provide services for them or ensure that the extra services we have within our district are there so that a student can have a counselor to go to, but even their families as well, to make sure that they have a support system and feel, just kind of with the last question, that they feel heard, they feel seen, and feel that it's going to be okay. So I believe those are 2 of the largest safety issues we have.
Okay. Dina Lemos Garcia.
I would say that one of the safety issues that come to my mind is ensuring that we have safe buildings for our students and our educators. It's not just ensuring that the topics that Weston mentioned, but it's also ensuring that our buildings that are old, that have the proper heating and proper air for our students and educators to be able to be in throughout the day, which then encourages that great learning experience. And I don't know that I know enough to share out a second safety, so I'm just going to stay with one.
Okay. All right, thank you. Robin Rogie.
Well, I'm really glad that Weston mentioned the mental health issues, because I think that in our culture today that it is a huge safety issue. We have, I think I heard on the radio that the #1 mental health problem in our country today is loneliness. And I don't, you think about where that stems from, stems from people spending their time on screens and relating to screens as instead of relating to people. But I think we've got a real upset culture. And I think that that leads to safety issues within our schools. And I would also echo, if I have time, the issue of our buildings being safe.
Okay, thank you. Kyle Bentley.
In my dealings and from what I've heard, I think that guns and fentanyl are probably 2 of the biggest safety concerns in my opinion. I don't think to the best of my knowledge, we didn't take a gun from a student last year, but with our dealings with the GPD and them, they said that illegal gun carrying is on the rise, and a lot of younger kids are being caught with guns. So I just want to do what we can to ensure that kids aren't bringing guns to school. And then fentanyl overdoses. The last statistic I'd heard is there's been 1 overdose of fentanyl per day in Greeley on average. So just to keep that out of the school and educate the kids and make sure that we're doing enough to be proactive in that regard.
Okay, thank you. Now we will begin the next question with Dina Lemos Garcia, and it is, what role do you think lessons on race and equity should play in the District 6 curriculum?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Yes. What role do you think lessons on race and equity should play in the District 6 curriculum?
I think that the role that race and equity should play in our curriculum, I believe is stated in our policy. Actually, I'm going to defer and not answer the question. I don't know that I'm educated enough to be able to fully respond to that question today.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that. It's okay. All right, Robin Rogie.
Well, I think the fact that in America we have a lot of people from a lot of different races and a lot of different backgrounds, so it makes sense that it should play into our education and our curriculums, just so that kids are being exposed to the realities of the world they live in. Beyond that, I don't have a lot of background in that either.
Okay, thank you. Kyle Bentley.
Like they said, we have a diverse population of students. I think there's 70-something languages spoke as a first language in our district. From a cultural and a historical standpoint, it absolutely needs included. You know, there's a lot of things to learn from how we got from where we were to where we are today. And equity to me just means that we treat everybody the same, and we don't see race and color. So I think that focusing on equity that way and making sure that everybody has the same opportunities, and then from a cultural and historical background, it absolutely needs to play a role in our things, in our curriculum.
Okay, thank you. Weston Edmonds.
I think we have a beautiful school district. Like what Kyle said, having 70, 80 plus different languages spoken in our schools speaks that we have a lot of different stories. We have a lot of different voices. We have a lot of different experiences that make us who we are. I mean, America's always been known as a melting pot. And so to steer away from that and to say that there's some people that don't deserve to be on the same level as someone else, I think that's not fair. So I think that making sure that there is always a focus on, with that race and equity, like Kyle said, that every student matters, every student deserves a fair education regardless of their race, but not shying away from that and making sure that no matter where that student comes from, no matter what their background is, that they have the same opportunities to succeed and be contributing members of our community. If we can give them trades, if we can make them career and college ready, and they come back and they strengthen our workforce, that's just better for our community.
Okay, thank you. Now we will move to another topic. Do you believe that District 6 is preparing students for the future, such as preparing students for higher education and/or pursuing different career paths? And please explain your answer. And we will start with Robin Rogie.
I do believe that the district is doing a great job of preparing kids for both college and career futures. There has been a lot of attention and a lot of effort put toward that. Just the other night at the school board meeting, there was a presentation by people that advocate for the AP and IB programs in our schools, and encouraging kids to try things that are hard for them, even though it might be out of their comfort zone. And we've got have implemented tremendous career training and concurrent enrollment with Ames and in terms of kids getting trained in both careers and then getting college credit while they're still in high school.
Okay, thank you. Kyle Bentley.
Yes, I do believe that we're doing a fantastic job. There's probably always room for improvement, and we will keep working on improvement. But if you look at our top academic kids, in programs like ECA and with the IB and AP programs, our scholars are getting more awards and more scholarships every year. And on the flip side of that, our students who are behind, they're doing a better job of getting them caught up and you see that in the increased on-time graduation rates that have been current, on our current trajectory. We also have the CTE center now, so the trades are getting focused on a lot more with the electrical program and the welding program and the esthetician program and the stuff like that. So we have a whole bunch of avenues to elevate the kids in any way that they might choose and excel at, and it's showing in the numbers for sure.
Thank you. Weston Edmonds.
This is what actually really excites me, I think, the most about our district is how much success we're seeing in our students. I actually got to hear today that it's very close to being certified, but District 6 is going to have a 90% on-time graduation rate, which is incredible. And that doesn't mean those 10% of students didn't graduate. It just means that they needed a little bit more time. We've got 3/4 of our students who are enrolled in some sort of career pathway. I believe it was in the 24-25 school year, over 4,000 college credits were taken by District 6 students for free. So what does that do? That gets them set up for success should they choose to go on to college. And there's great relationships between Ames and UNC. If a student goes to Ames, Ames has a partnership with UNC as well. We have opportunities for students in our district to not have to pay for higher education. As somebody who had to wait 10 years and work in the nonprofit industry to have his student loans forgiven, I can tell you how big of a deal that is for a student to be able to get a higher education for free to make sure that they can succeed and make our community better. So I think our district's doing an amazing job.
Okay, thank you. Dina Lemos Garcia.
I would agree. I believe that we are doing an excellent job in preparing our students. We have an 87% graduation rate. We have about 1,219 students who are participating in the concurrent enrollment. We have 14 CTE certification opportunities, and we provide internships for our students that collaborate with the businesses that are within our community. So we are already creating those partnerships for our students to feel comfortable going out in our community and our businesses understanding who our students are. So I am thankful for what the district is doing, and I am proud to be a part of that collaboration.
Hey, thank you. All right, this is question number 8. It's a good thing we tried to cover everything we could think of in the district, so I think you're going to have the opportunity to talk about all of that. Here is question number 8. What are the most effective ways that you would build consensus when working with the board and the community, such as parents, the Greeley Teachers Association, the district's charter schools, UNC, and Ames Community College? And we will start with Kyle.
Dr. Pilch brought in the consensus circle back when she first came over in 2016, 2017, and we use that they use that to get the GEA and the district on, speaking terms and out of lawsuits. We also used it in listening sessions with parents and other entities, and it's just a very constructive and tangible way that gets very good results and kind of keeps everybody on a level playing field, makes everybody's opinion heard, their voice gets into the room, and it showed tremendous success in its implementation. So I think utilizing Dr. Pilch and her ability to facilitate conversations like that is going to be a tool that we'll use long past her tenure here at the district. So I just continue with that.
Okay, thank you. Weston Edmonds.
A consensus is important to any working relationship, especially when you're working with so many people at the table. When you look at 3,800 employees in the district, you've got, I think, over 750 teachers are part of the GEA. It's a lot of voices at the table. It's a lot of people that have feelings that may not always align, but with consensus, when you have consensus, when both sides agree that we want what's best for our district and for our students and our teachers, I think you can accomplish a lot. But with consensus, obviously comes compromise. So with the GEA, both sides need to compromise on what they would like to see when it comes to budgetary. But I think even consensus within our district, if we're going outside the GEA and we're talking about teachers and or parents and their relationship to the school, is hearing parents, hearing what they want, but also understanding that may not always happen, but working towards that consensus just helps to direct everybody in the same direction, which is upward, it's forward, it's to success, and it's making sure that our district is taken care of well.
Okay, thank you. Dina Lemos Garcia.
I am so thankful that I've been able to observe our superintendent and her collaboration with the UNC, with Ames, with our community. And so for me, when I think about consensus, I think about everybody having an opportunity to sit at the table and to have their voices heard. And while people might not always agree, it's agreeing to disagree sometimes and coming to the conclusion that we all here for the same goal. We're here for our students, we're here for our families, we're here for our communities. And with that goal in mind is ensuring that we all are on the same page with our communication. We've seen it already where we are providing spaces for school board opportunities for community to speak out. We've had parent teacher conferences. We have opportunities to have parent meetings, and those collaborations will help us to understand where everybody is coming from to then end up, again, with the same goal in mind, which is our students.
Thank you. Robin Rogie.
My background would be kind of in the history of School District 6. There hasn't always been a time when there has been as much collaboration and communication as there is now. And that is one reason I have decided to run for the school board, is because in attending meetings, I have just been so impressed with our superintendent and our leadership that has created such an opportunities for consensus and negotiating with the GEA and opportunities for parents to express their concerns.
All right, thank you. All right, we have a question from the audience. And we will begin with Weston Edmonds on this one. Do you condone the way the current board goes around sunshine laws by messaging in a group of 2 at a time?
As not being a current board member, I can't speak to that. I wasn't aware of this, so I not feel comfortable speaking for any stance of experience about that.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, Dina Lemos Garcia.
I also need to defer in answering the question. Thank you.
All right. Robin Rogie.
I also need to defer.
And Kyle Bentley.
The thing about the Sunshine Law, we got a lot of training when as a new board member. It's there for a reason, and it specifically says that we can't have 3 or more. So to follow the law, you have to have less than 3. So it's pretty simple. 3 or more, it's a meeting. 2 or less, it's legal. So it's not technically going around the Sunshine Law, it's following the Sunshine Law.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have another question from the audience. And we will begin with, let's see if I get my numbers. Dina Lemos Garcia. What are your thoughts on the current test scores coming out of our district, and how do you plan on helping to improve them?
So what I am familiar with our test scores is that I believe there was a meeting where Dr. Pilch mentioned that we were above, or we were above a certain rate, and I apologize, I don't have all the correct information with me, but I understand that we're doing very well as a district. And so for me, I would continue to pursue the 2030 initiative and continue to support our students and our educators in outlining the expectations and supporting them in the ways that we can.
Okay, thank you. Robin Rogie.
What I'm familiar with is that where we are struggling as a district and as Weld County is on our scores for CMAS, English Language Arts, and CMAS Math, that we're coming across pretty low in those. I know there was some concern expressed at the school board meeting this last week that especially within our kindergarten through 3rd grade, we're scoring pretty low in those areas. And so there's some concern for that, and there's some issues.
Okay, thank you. Kyle Bentley.
Could you repeat the question for me just so I make sure I'm answering it
Yes.
in its entirety?
What are your thoughts on the current test scores coming out of our district, and how do you plan on helping to improve them?
Yeah, we just had a pretty big presentation on this the other night, as Robin alluded to. Our K through 3 test scores do have some room for improvement. But it's a complex problem. We get kids from all over at different levels. So K through 3 is more of a gauge of where they're at. And if you look at our middle school scores, we're all in at the green level on the state as far as the state's concerned. The other part of that equation is the way that those test scores are ranked. 50 is the state average, and so we get a score of 49. People think it's an F. If we get a score of 53, we're actually above the state average, and it's a moving denominator. If the state average goes up, that 50 mark comes down, and so it's very hard, and for people that don't sit through those meetings and pay attention, for them to comprehend how that works, and it's complex, and I don't really think it's the most appropriate way, but it's the way the state has. So
Okay, thank you. Weston Edmonds.
Yeah, I'm gonna say again, I can't say that I'm fully the expert for how we can get each individual student up, but it's because every student performs differently, like Kyle said. And I think one way you can obviously always improve test scores is continue to invest in the district. Continue to invest to make sure that we have up-to-date curricula. Continue to invest to make sure that our teachers are well paid. And always working towards not just trying to look at it as there's a number on a page, but still staying focused to make sure that our students are taken care of. And I think we see a big turnaround too, is because these test scores a lot of times get focused on they're looking at K through 3rd grade, 3rd through 8th grade, but then we really see this big turnaround in high school. And that's where a lot of the good, hard work is done, is when they get into high school, they find the passion for these students. And whether it's getting them into plumbing or into construction or getting them into IT or just helping them find what drives them, that having a 90% on-time graduation rate isn't just because they're trying to push them through the district, it's because they've been able to help those students succeed.
What's it say?
Somebody is recording
Oh,
in the
oh,
audience,
oh.
and they shouldn't be.
Okay, just a reminder that we are asking that no one record the actual forum, that the League of Women Voters owns the recording, and we'll be happy to share it on the YouTube channel. So just a reminder that if someone is doing that, please stop. We have time for 2 more questions, and I am going to begin with, we've asked so many questions, I'm on to a second page. I'm going to begin with, trying to figure out where I stopped. Robin Rogie. And the question is, do you believe that education about civic education is a good thing and has a role in our district curriculum? An example of civic education might be how government works, voter education, that kind of thing. So what do you think about civic education?
I would be definitely for civic education, especially as it pertains to the things that you mentioned. I remember how a bill becomes a law from my growing up. And my husband was a social studies teacher for many years, and they would do mock elections and that kind of thing. So I think if for our students, as they become voters and American citizens, they need to know how our form of government works.
Thank you. Kyle Bentley.
yeah, I'd agree. To be a contributing member to society, they need to know how society works, and then this is a vital part of our government and our system. So learning the ins and outs of the civic stuff and their duties there is very important.
Okay. Weston Edmonds.
I'll try not to sound like a broken record, but I agree. I think that it is important for our students to know about some of the basics of life, like why do we vote? How does voting work? How does democracy work? Why do we have a democracy instead of a monarchy? I think it's really important for our students to understand why our country has been so successful all these years, and why threats to that also, I think is just important, why threats to that can actually be harmful to our community. But you can go even further than that, just showing them the importance of social safety nets, showing them the importance of even checking accounts and things that students, maybe they're not going to be able to learn that at home, but we can provide them with the tools that they need, not just learning how to read and write and do math, but that we can help them have tools so that when they go off to try to get a job or get an apartment, that they have some of those tools that they've learned in the classroom.
Thank you. Dina Lemos Garcia.
I would agree with every person here as well. I believe that the civic education is extremely important for the understanding of just how we live in the United States and the opportunities that a person might have in front of them that they might not know or learn otherwise. And I feel that that's important for our students to learn and understand throughout each grade that they go into, of how important it is to be able to understand the way that that works.
Okay, thank you. All right, and our last question deals with a group we haven't talked specifically about, and next to students is the most important group. What do you propose the board do to attract and retain well-qualified teachers and staff? And we will start with Kyle Bentley.
It's the question of the decade. We've worked feverishly on this in collaboration with the GEA, just listening, but competitive pay to keep them in so that they can afford to live in the communities that they're working is very important. We actually, some of our residents are traveling to higher paying districts and living here because the cost of living is lower. When if we could get our salary in line, then we're doing a good job. We got it the highest it's ever been, but salaries is the top thing that we hear about. But offering competitive benefit packages, the buildings that they work and teach in, the systems that we propose and implement, the time that we require of them, it's a multifaceted problem that we can't just look at one piece. We kind of got to look at the entire picture and work with the entities that are in place and the teachers and get their input too.
Okay, thank you. Weston Edmonds.
I think you hit the nail on the head that next to the students, the most important thing for the district is our teachers. And so having that competitive salary, you have to, but the board has made great strides in improving that. The starting salary just a few years back was $30,000, and now they've been able to bring that up to $50,000. In a state that is 51st in the United States for competitive salaries, in Colorado across the state, and then you live, again, in a community where it's more rural and so there's not as many resources, we have to fight hard to make sure that teachers want to be here. And it's not just based off the salary. Make sure that they have the support systems they need. They have updated technology, they have curricula, but they also have a school board that cares about them and makes sure that they have what they need. And so I think that is how you attract and retain good teachers, is to make sure that they have support from many different directions.
Okay, thank you. Dina Lemos Garcia.
Yes, I would be remiss if I didn't mention compensation. However, there are other factors such as culture, environment, and support is also very crucial. I recognize the importance of having the student educator ratio, as well as ensuring that our facilities are safe. During the board meeting that occurred on September 22nd in 2025, Human Resources shared the initiative in creating a refreshed view of hiring process and applicant experience, which certainly will add to the ability to attract our educators.
Thank you. Robin Rogie.
Well, this is an issue, of course, that is close to my heart in terms of being married to a long-term teacher. But I would also echo the need for, in order to retain and attract teachers, we need to be able to compete with compensation. And then we need to be able to support and appreciate our teachers that do a great job. And then sensitivity to the time constraints versus the demands. I hear this over and over from teachers, the meetings and the paperwork that's required that pulls them away from doing their job. So I think we need to be sensitive to that also.
Thank you. Okay, now, Robin, you're going to start. We're going to go to the closing statements, and we begin with you again.
Okay, so again, I appreciate this opportunity, and this has been a really new experience for me in terms of running for a political office. I guess it's not political, it's nonpartisan, but to be campaigning and all of that kind of thing. But the reason I decided to run for the school board is just in visiting the different meetings, I just was so impressed with the forward movement of our district, and it was something that I wanted to be a part of. And I am committed to work for excellence in education for our, first of all, our students, our teachers, and our whole community. And I commit to showing up, listening, and understanding the best I can and voting in the best interest of our community.
Thank you. Dina Lemos Garcia.
I want to thank you for giving me an opportunity to share about myself and why I'm running for school board. These experiences that I've shared is certainly an important perspective on what I could bring to the school board. Being on a board, currently supporting our community, being in human resources and having that aspect to bring to the board as well. I'm ready to help lead our district as a school board director and keeping our students at the forefront of our minds, ensuring that our families are involved and our communities continue to stay engaged. And together we can thrive and make sure that every student matters.
Thank you. Weston Edmonds.
I think I'll close by how I started, which is that I love my community. And I want what's best for my community, whether it's my kids and my family, the place I work, the place I go to church, but that the person I walk by in the grocery store, the kid I see walking behind their parents, has a school district that they can be proud of and they want to be a part of. And I honestly believe that the 4 candidates sitting up here are what's going to bring the district to continue to move forward. That you can't go wrong with a vote for any one of us because we all love our district. We are pro students, we're pro educators, we're pro community, we're pro District 6. We love what is being done and we want to see that continue. And so I think maybe I'd say the most exciting thing tonight is my name up here, even though my last name is spelled wrong. It's just been exciting to see the impact of what this has allowed me to do, to just see how far I can get into the community to let them know that they have somebody that's willing to be a voice for them, regardless if they look like me, sound like me, believe what I believe, that they know that I love them and I want to care for them in this way. Thank you.
Okay, and just so you know, your name has gone through several iterations. And
hey, at least it's Weston. I joke today, people usually call me Wesley. So you got the first name right, I'll give you the last name.
Okay, thank you. Kyle Bentley.
Yeah, thank you guys for this. Thank you for the broad array of questions that we could really kind of dig into all the different topics. I just, as a sitting board member, there's 4 years of history that you guys are able to access, via the YouTube channel or questions or emails and see what I've done and who I am. I'm confident that I bring a cool, collected, level-headed approach, focus on common sense. I'm not blinded by blue or red. I'm just common sense of what makes sense for the students going forward. I'm excited to continue the good work. We have a lot of really exciting momentum. I think that if you've been paying attention to the district, it's easy to see the strides that we've made in the last, post-COVID 4 years or even the last decade under Dr. Pilch's leadership. So I'm just excited to get the opportunity to continue to do this good work and make a trajectory that's solidified for hopefully the next coming decade at least. Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you. And in closing, thank you very much for your interest in attending the forum or in watching it at home. And especially I want to thank the candidates for running. We know it's not easy. And so it takes a lot of effort and energy and dedication to what you believe is the right thing to do, and we really appreciate it. We also applaud those of you who are paying attention to the election overall and the ballot issues, which will be on the ballot. The League of Women Voters will sponsor a virtual forum on the ballot issues on Thursday, October 23rd, 2025, from 6:30 to 7:30 via Zoom. And you can find that Zoom link on our website. Is that correct? Yes, okay. I just want to make sure I've got that right. Yes. We thank you candidates again and the District 6 staff for helping with this, and League volunteers for helping the League host the forum, and for the audience for respectful listening and for participation and submitting questions. We really appreciate that. Remember that the one who makes democracy work is you. We thank you for being informed voters. Good evening.